Welcome back to Unfiltered with Reyes and Victor. That goes by.
Victor,
Ray.
the inspiration online, who also is Victor Guerra. I said that completely backwards. Victor
Oh,
Guerra, who goes by Victor, the
I'm
inspiration.
not editing that, you guys. So if you hear it, that's his fault. Well, this episode we're gonna dive into a very personal, deep question. I feel like everybody in the disability community, muscular dystrophy community, SMA type 3 community, or in disability in general. What the title of this episode is, like you guys can see, what happens if we outlive our parents? I mean, I know that's an idea nobody wants to think about. Parents, especially individuals living with a disability for several reasons that we're going to dive into. 10 questions, and we're going to end up with 5 rapid fire questions. So I'll start with the first question, which Victor will answer. Do you ever think about what life would look like if you're, in your case, your mom were no longer here? Like who would
Absolutely.
take care of me, you know? For me, I have
Yeah.
one mom. I have both parents, but that doesn't guarantee that both of them will be here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. I won't go entirely in full depth.
You don't
Um,
have to
but
just say the
but
one
I
word if you
can
want.
say
Mom.
that yes, I have thought about it. And yes, I have thought about what would happen afterwards, right? Me personally, I would not have family care for me. I wouldn't have family care for me. Just because of like what I've been through in the past and what I've seen. Um, um, I just don't want to be that type of burden in in their life, if that makes any sense. So where I'm going with this is that's why I do what I do. Like I am literally doing my very best to, like have my book, put me in a position, have my book, my podcast, every single thing that I do, my voice, my story, be able to be monetizable in such a way where I can put myself in the financial comfortability of a position where when that happens, because time doesn't get younger, we don't get younger as time goes on, right? We all get older. So I want to be in the financial position where hopefully long before that happens, I can then pay for my own care team where those expenses come out of my pocket, not out of like government assistance, which there's nothing wrong with it. But I just want to be able to, have pay them what I think is right, which is, above average. Pretty much care for those who care for me, in a way where like, oh, I'm doing good, you're doing good. I'm doing well, you're doing well, right?
Yeah.
And
For me, it was like
just being that type of position where that if that when that were to happen,
if it
I'm
happened.
good. I like there's the only stress or I don't want yeah, the only worrisome
Worry.
during that type of process would be like, obviously being in distraught, right? Because of losing a loved one, right? That would only be my only worrisome. Not okay, how much is a funeral? How are we going to get things paid? Where is it going to be at? Like all of that is going to
Yeah.
be pre-prepared
For me, it's like
long in
anything.
advance.
Me, I'm just trying to
That's what I'm
figure it
looking for.
out. I'm just figuring out options, honestly, right now. 'Cause I was like, in the
Yeah.
past, I was like, I won't make it this long, and I'm still here. I'm like, yeah, I should start thinking like that was the mindset. I'm like, I won't be here too long, and I'm still here. So I'm like, yeah, I need to think about trying to
Yeah,
be
and I
successful. Like
never
you
and I
can do
never um
anything. Like
I
right
never
now,
said
just
that out I never said that out loud, but I mean
meaning
that's
I
it.
haven't talked to, for me, I didn't say that like either. Like, oh, I won't be here too long, and I'm still here. So I'm like, yeah, I have to figure something out. Anything basically to be successful or whatever. Like any, I'm just looking at any option at this point.
Yeah. And I
And
have thought about other people too.
the main one is become successful. Like you're saying, that's the main one. If that doesn't work, I don't know. I have to figure that out.
Yeah.
Anything, it doesn't matter how crazy it sounds.
And I've thought about like other people too. Like you're obviously one of them. And there's like a few others as well, because I just don't know or think if they have ever thought about that. And like, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But
All right,
it's a
let's
very
go
deep
to the
question.
second one. Yeah, I know. Is that a conversation your family has had, or is it something that feels hard to bring up?
No, it definitely has been talked about numerous times, like what would happen to me. and there it definitely is a plan already thought out and talked about. So I do know what would happen, right? I do know what would happen. I would just do my very best to kind of do what I said make happen. Where I have my own care team just because I don't want to I don't want to be I don't want to have to alter the course of someone's life just because of my own needs. Daily care.
Honestly, I don't know, but I have that. We talked about, but honestly, there's no like plan. 'Cause I don't know, like I have several plans, but it's always like that. What you're saying. Wait, I'm not gonna do that. Wait, there's gonna be this issue here. All the plans that I have, like, oh no, there's this issue, this issue. So it's like I have to pick. I have to pick one, no matter what issue it's gonna bring up.
Yeah.
Because they all have their pros and cons. So I'm like, yeah, I just have to pick
Yeah. Can
one
we
works.
wait? Can we pause this really, really quick?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay. My bad. Had some technical difficulties.
We have to answer a call.
Yeah, I had to answer a phone call really quick.
All
Okay.
right.
And I'm sorry. What was the question?
We're moving on to the next one.
Okay.
For people with disability, what do you think this topic is so emotional?
That's a great one. Just because it's a well, I'm gonna answer it in this way.
I'll let
Is
you answer now.
for any individual, whether you have a disability or not, because I've seen these conversations take place, whether it was with myself or whether it was with a loved one of mine. Um, whether you have a disability or not, it is definitely a sensitive topic and not an easy conversation to have. And some people, I've seen it where like, no, no, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that right now. Just because it doesn't, it's not a comfortable conversation, right? Which is completely understandable.
Yeah,
But
you don't want to
then
talk
when
about it.
that situation happens, they're like completely stuck and they have
They're
no
lost.
course of direction. Yeah, they're lost. They don't know what to do because, they avoided the conversation or they never thought about having their conversation. Again, it's a very sensitive conversation, but if you just, you know, develop, that sense of openness, just sit down and bring up the conversation, right? In a very calm, mature manner, it is a great conversation to have.
Okay, I agree. I need like, yeah, I think it's for everyone. No one wants to think about life or death. But I think it's more emotional for people with disabilities.
Yeah. And like you said, it is much more sensitive with like I said, whether you have a disability or not, it's not an easy conversation. But like he's mentioned, when you have a disability, more so a progressive one, when you can't physically care for yourself, right? That's an even harder conversation because then it's all about, okay, where are you going to end up? What is going to happen? Who is going to care for you? Are they capable of caring for you, right? Can they take care of themselves where they can take care of another individual? There's all of, do they have a family now, right? There's so many different aspects and variety of different paths when it comes to an individual having a progressive disability.
All right. Question 4. Do you think parents of disabled children carry this fear more than they let on?
Say that one more time.
Do you think parents of disabled children carry this fear more than they let on?
Definitely. I think especially as they get older, I'm pretty sure 100%. Especially if they're like the primary caretaker for their child or for that individual, I'm pretty sure it's a really big worrisome with
Yeah.
what's going to happen in that type of event.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. As time goes on, I think that fear gets bigger, I'll say. All right, question 5. What would scare you the most? The caregiving side, the emotional, or the uncertainty?
I would think all the above. It's definitely going to be the emotions. There's definitely going to be a lot of emotions that are going to arise, a lot of uncertainties, right? A whole bunch of what ifs, right?
Yeah,
Uh, and one of the, I think one way to kind of approach the situation is developing that mindset of even if, even if this happens, this is what I am going to do, or this is what I can do. Just gotta be mentally prepared. I mean, you can always be mentally prepared for anything, right? But until you're actually going through it, it's a completely different, a life altering type of an experience. So, um, but I think to kind of be able to know what may happen or what can happen, and also be prepared what paths are presently available, kind of eliminates so much more excess stress that just because you kind of are in uncharted territory, but not completely in uncharted territory, if that makes any sense.
yeah. All right. Six, do you feel like society talks enough about long-term caregiving?
Hmm.
I don't think
Society talk
so.
about long-term caregiving.
I don't
I
think
would
so.
think maybe
No, I'll say no. Not enough, I'll say. That's just me, not
I would
enough.
say no, just because of the way government funding is. As it is, you have
Yeah,
to,
that was what I was gonna say. That's why I'm saying no, I don't think so.
yeah, you have to advocate and fight for a lot, which which fortunately there are people that do that type of advocacy, but it also should be the conversation of, okay, how can we assist these individuals? Obviously don't cripple these individuals, right? But also have like the type of conversation, okay, how can we assist these type of individuals because these people are human too, right? But also how can we help them because they too have a mind of their own. Like, we can be many, at least from what I've seen presently, or more so as of recently, um, it's all about they see it as a waste, right? And by they, I'm not speaking for everybody, but by many individuals, they see it as a waste. But there are many ways that I think are being overlooked as to how much of a resource we can actually be. And I think a lot of us are
Okay,
kind of paving that path.
yeah, okay. What kind of support system will make you feel safer about the future?
Supporting me or supporting the individual it becomes a before it's support
Too
the
late.
individual while you still can before it's too late. Like
Okay.
here I am, for example, striving for several years. Like, let's just put this in perspective. Here I am striving for several years since 2018. And every entrepreneur has their own ups and downs, definitely, whether they have a disability or not. But here I am, several years. I have been in entrepreneurship since 2018. And there's no doubt about it. I'm not, becoming big headed here or arrogant in any way, but, you know, like I have done quite a bit, but I guarantee that if I were to pass tomorrow, I would receive so much more support than as if I were living. Now, why not support that individual who is struggling? Like, there's signs that they are struggling. There's signs that they are meant for so much more and they're striving to achieve so much more. Why can't you support that individual now before it eventually becomes too late? That's my that was my first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, I agree. Uh, how can families start planning without making the conversation feel depressing? Which I don't know. That's kind of
That's a difficult
topic question.
angle. I mean, the question is very heavy as it is. I would say maybe slowly ease into it. Maybe you can I don't know, maybe and obviously it depends on the family and the circle.
Yeah, I feel like just
Definitely the maturity of the individuals as well.
yeah, I feel
It's a very
like
big one.
start like, I don't know, brainstorming ideas. I mean, not ideas in this case, like planning like different options, and see the pros and cons of it, I'll say.
Yeah, and two, I think you can kind of go based off of the way a conversation is going. Like sometimes you can be in a conversation, right? And if it's a funny conversation, obviously it might not be the right time to approach that type of conversation. But if it's
With
a,
humor.
if it's a humanized conversation and eventually it somehow gets very, very deep, like completely unexpectedly, maybe that can be your door of opportunity to kind of ease and ease into that type of a conversation like, hey, quick question or quick thought, have you ever thought about XYZ, right? And maybe that could be a door of opportunity.
Hmm. All right. Nine, what would you want people with disability to understand about this fear? I mean, we both have disabilities.
Is everyone with a disability has their own unique set of challenges and obstacles uniquely to them. So this isn't a one answer fits all kind of answer. um I would say maybe if maybe do the best you can to maybe put yourself in the position where it won't be so much of a stress where if that were to occur. Meaning, if you have the opportunity, for example, to scroll through social media, you have the opportunity to build something on that very same device that can help with the financial burden when that foreseeable outcome were to kind of transpire. It's all about choices. Utilizing the time and the resources for entertainment, or utilizing your time and resources to create something worthwhile. That's ultimately going to benefit you, ultimately going to benefit those around you. Again, again, the answer is not a one size fits all for everyone, because everyone has their own unique set of challenges and obstacles, right?
Yeah, because every person with a disability has different challenges. It's not like
Yeah,
you might have the same disability, but doesn't mean you have the same challenges,
yeah,
the same circle, same support, or whatever.
yeah. A lot of different yeah.
All right, final question before we get to that rapid fire question. What message would you give to parents who worry about what will happen to their child after they are gone?
That's a hard one because I'm not a parent. Um, so I
Yeah,
think
I know.
I think my answer would be different if I were. I would
Yeah,
definitely
I
just
figured it. So I was like, when I
yeah,
saw that question, I was like, I don't think I can answer that either. So let's skip that one.
yeah. I would simply just say though, um,
I don't know what to
for
say.
like
Like
any parent is
I didn't
maybe
really pay attention to the
yeah,
question.
I
I
think for
just
like any parent, whether they have a child with a disability or not, right? This is going to be, for any parent, again,
yeah, in
is that
general.
maybe, yeah, in general, is maybe have a plan or a conversation around and with someone you trust, where in an unfortunate event where maybe you get an accident or an um, unplanned health diagnosis kind of transpires, or whatever the case may be, the circumstance may be, your child is looked after.
Mm, right. So we'll finish up with the final rapid fire questions.
Okay.
One word to describe this topic:
Heavy.
heavy, hard, difficult.
Yeah.
I know I said one word, but I feel like there's not one word, in my opinion, to describe the topic. Two biggest fear about the future.
Not being able to not being able to reap the fruits to my labor because my disability has progressed, or I'm not able to entirely enjoy it. That's a fear. Another fear is me putting in all of this work and it completely goes down the drain. I think that's every entrepreneur's fear is because at the end of the day, you really don't know if it's going to work, but you still somehow show up anyway
Hmm.
in the
Not
hopes that it does.
probably not having the right plan in place, I'll say.
Mhm.
One thing that makes you feel safer about the future.
Nothing is permanent, meaning everything changes. The season you are going through changes. The season you may be experiencing both internally or externally changes. Nothing in life is ever permanent. So, having that said, enjoy the things you can before eventually you can't.
I'll just say I'll figure it out. I have always figured it out. Every
Yeah.
stage I figure it out. All right, last one. One message to anyone who feels scared about what's next. Of what happens next, my bad.
One fear of one who fears what happens next.
One message to anyone who feels scared about what happens next.
Oh, who feels scared is like Alfonso just mentioned, have that mentality of you will figure it out. You always have, right? You always do. And
Which in my case I've always have figured it out.
develop that mentality of even if this happens, you're going to figure it out. Even though the good happens, even though the bad happens, even though the ugly happens, right? You know you are going to figure it out. You might struggle, but you're going to figure it out.
Well, that's been this episode, you guys. I know it's not like the usual one, but I felt like it was a topic we need to discuss. Doesn't matter how difficult it was, but leave you guys a comment. What are your thoughts on this topic? Is it talked about enough? What does it need to change? What aspects need to change when it comes to this topic? Leave a comment down below, you guys. And like I say, I know this is a difficult topic, but I feel like it was a great topic to discuss. Two different point of views: SMA type 3, muscular dystrophy. So yeah, guys, what things should change in this aspect? Leave a comment down below, and we'll end the podcast. With that question, leave a comment down below. And we're thinking about bringing guests, so also comment down who would you like to see on my podcast in the future. It can be anyone, doesn't matter. Like Victor said in his podcast, doesn't matter how many subscribers, just the energy, the vibe they bring. And I'll see you guys in the next one.